Pittsburgh Steelers just gave Chris Boswell a bag. They gave him a 4-year extension worth $28 million, $7 million per season, makes him tied for the highest paid kicker in NFL history, right there with Brandon Aubrey. So, Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys, he's 4 years younger than Chris Boswell. He's making the same amount of money, and Brandon Aubrey's he's the best kicker in the National Football League. And that's not to say that Chris Boswell is an elite, probably the second best kicker in the National Football League. This is well overdue and long deserved for Chris Boswell. It's been known for at least a year now, going into last offseason, that Chris Boswell wanted more money, and he absolutely deserves it because he's been the Steelers' best player of the 2020s. He has saved some really bad Mike Tomlin teams. Let's take a look at week 1 last year against the New York Jets. That's what's coming to mind for me. His long field goal, 60 yards, to win the game, that ended up being the game-winning field goal. If they would have lost to the New York Jets, that loss would have been the worst loss of the season. The Jets looked good in week 1. That's because the Steelers' defense was just so pathetic. The Mike Tomlin defense was pathetic. Games like that are the reason Chris Boswell deserves this kind of money. I'm not even worried about $7 million a year. That's not a number that's going to make or break anything, especially at a position where Chris Boswell plays, where you're like, yeah, he's our kicker. He's the best kicker in franchise history at this point, and he's proven it. He's proven time and time again, 87% field goal make percentage in his career, good for 6th all time. This guy is among the greats of all time. That's the era that Chris Boswell is entering, and if he's able to play out all 4 years of this career, because all 4 years of this contract, because he's gotten a little bit better as he's aged. Interestingly enough, he's kind of aged backwards. And he's 35 years old. Yes, among the guys making that kind of money, he's the oldest by far. He's 4 years older than Brandon Aubrey. He is 3 years older than Kaimi Fairbairn, who makes $6.5 million. He is 6 years older than Butker, who makes 6.4. 4 years older than Elliott, who makes 5.6, and he is a full 11 years older than Cameron Dicker, who makes $5.5 million. So he's by far the oldest, but I don't think there's any reason to be concerned because he's gotten better as he's been aging, and this is someone who deserves this kind of money. When they've put in this kind of time and put in this kind of work for this franchise, the Steelers tend to reward those kind of guys. TJ Watt is a prime example. Does anybody think he's worth $42 million at this point? No, but he's put in that time. The Steelers, that was more of a, you've put in the time, you're still a good player, we're going to pay you. The Steelers kind of have an affinity to do this for these guys. I don't like the way that they waited a full year to do this. This is something that could have been resolved last offseason. It wouldn't have saved the Steelers that much money, probably would have saved them maybe $1 million per year. But I guess I'm kind of glad for Chris Boswell on this. He held out, he stayed strong, and look, he probably ended up making more money than the Steelers were offering last offseason. So good for him. Chris Boswell deserves it. No reason to be upset from this deal whatsoever. Welcome back, Chris Boswell.